1. Caroline Bingley lived a charmed life. There was no point disputing the matter. Before she reached the age of 21, Caroline understood perfectly well that she had been born to achieve greatness, and wherever she went, others were bound to admire her. Upon first making her acquaintance, people were quick to notice her attractiveness. She was tall and slender, with a figure that was often envied by other young ladies. The rich, supple silk fabrics she selected at the best shops in London draped her form admirably, merely adding to her grace and elegance. Her blue eyes were bright and questioning, whilst her long, inky black hair curled remarkably well, so that the strands were lustrous, especially when backlit by warm and glowing candlelight. Her sharply contoured cheekbones and finely structured eyebrows gave her face a curious look, which most people found quite appealing. But Caroline's gifts were not confined to her beauty. She was also an accomplished young lady. When mingling with members of society, she carried herself well and could spark unique and engaging conversations. Her witty criticisms were legendary amongst her circle of peers, and quite often she could be seen surrounded by those who wished to revel in her speeches. If it should happen that the host of a soirée called for musical entertainment, Miss Bingley was regularly the first young lady entreated to sit at the pianoforte and oblige them with a tune. She was a talented musician who sang and played well, exhibiting not just her fine taste and judgment, but also a selfless determination to provide amusement for her fellow guests. Perhaps the area in which Miss Bingley was most blessed was that in the happy accident of being born into just the right family. The Bingleys were wealthy, exceedingly so, and had earned such a vast quantity of money in such a short time that even though neither she, her sister, nor her brother had the good luck to inherit their wealth from an aged grandmamma or outstandingly wealthy uncle, they were still welcomed into society as if they had always belonged. Caroline's sister, Louisa, was her elder by 18 months, and the two cherished the bond that held them together. They were alike in so many ways that it never occurred to either that they ought to quarrel with one another. Even after Louisa wed Mr. Sherborne Hurst, Caroline continued to rely upon her sister, and even spent many months together, staying at the couple's townhouse in London with them. As for Caroline and Louisa's older brother, Charles, neither of the sisters could say a word against him. He was the ideal sibling, agreeable, pliable, and indulgent. If it was within his power to please the ladies of the house, he was resolved to do it. His generosity extended beyond the family, though, for Charles Bingley was considered amiable amongst all his acquaintances, and whenever he was in town was certain to have a stack of invitations waiting upon a silver tray for his approval. Everyone, just everyone, wanted to befriend Charles Bingley. And it was because of Charles's agreeable nature that Miss Caroline Bingley was introduced to a man of consequence and wealth, Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. From the very first encounter, Caroline suspected that he, like herself, was put on this earth to produce marvels. Mr. Darcy was tall and undeniably handsome, but above all that, he carried himself with an air of dignity. His mannerism signified that he was proud of his family and the magnificent estate they owned in Derbyshire, known as Pemberley. He and Caroline were not acquainted with one another long before she set her cap at winning his affections. So eager was she to capture Mr. Darcy's notice that when her brother Charles declared he meant to let an estate in the Hertfordshire countryside, called Netherfield Park, and take Darcy along with him so that they might make the final preparations, Caroline could not help but invite herself to join their party. Since Louisa would not be content remaining in the city by herself, she and Mr. Hurst were to be included in the adventure as well, and so, just after Michaelmas, the Bingleys, Hursts, and Mr. Darcy set forth to embark on a grand excursion.